What's up, YouTubers? Your boy Dalyxman bringing you another edition of my Q&A corner. Every week I answer your questions in under 15 minutes. If you want me to answer one of your questions, go on my Facebook page, like it, and then whenever I post up the status, leave a question, leave it there, and if you're lucky, I get to answer your questions. It will be answered in a future edition. So with that said, in case you're wondering what game I'm playing, DBZ, not DBZ, but DBXV, I suppose. Xenoverse is what it was. So let's go ahead and get started with the first question. Bray Wyatt versus Randy Orton. Would I be interested in that? I guess. I mean, when I think about the two characters and I see the vicious side of Mr. Randy Orton when he gets into his Viper mode, combat that with the psychotic cult leader who thinks he rules the world, you know, the Eater of All Worlds versus the Viper, I think would be an awesome feud in terms of character clashing and in terms of matches. I think Bray Wyatt's hard, almost semi-Japanese hard style versus Randy Orton's finesse in-ring technical style, which is work very well with each other. So yes, I would love to see that match. Did you like AJ Lee's return on Raw? I did like AJ Lee's return last week, I believe, right? Yes, I did. I think her being back in the division adds a little bit more credibility to it before she was there. Honestly, when it was just the Bella Twins running the ship, I was just not interested. I think AJ adds a little bit more spark to it, whether she's a heel or a face. So yes, I am happy she's back. What are your thoughts on there being no Stardust and Goldust match? I think it's stupid. I know Cody Rhodes came on Twitter apparently and said that nobody wanted the match and it wasn't going anywhere. I think that's BS. I think that's him covering it up. WWE blew their load way too early. Way too early. And by the time we got to WrestleMania, or around this time, they had nothing left for it. This is why they should have held it off until WrestleMania. It was stupid. It was stupid to have it at Fastlane. I don't get it. Why not have these two fights at WrestleMania? Now, the match that they've had, that crappy match that ended, well, it wasn't a crappy match. I'm not going to say it was a crappy match. It was actually a good match. It ended in a crappy way. That match is going to be the match we remember them for. They need a better match than that. So, if they're not going to get a match at WrestleMania, at least give them a match at Extreme Rules or something like that. I don't get why they're not facing off at WrestleMania. Goldust isn't even in the ladder match from what I'm hearing. I don't know what's going to happen here, but yeah, man. Something's got to happen with these two. They need another match. He also asked me, no Miz down in the Miz. I've said that before. It's stupid. There is absolutely no excuse why those two should not have a one-on-one match other than they don't want it to happen. Your thoughts on Stardust? Should he go back to Cody Rhodes? Yes. If we're not going to continue this feud between Goldust and Stardust and they've done their thing as a tag team, they're not doing it anymore, he needs to go back to Cody Rhodes. I don't really like Stardust by himself. I think Stardust is a cool character when he is with Goldust. As an individual by himself, it needs to be Cody Rhodes. That's just my opinion. I prefer Cody Rhodes over Stardust. What do you want to win? Oh, not what do you want. Who do you want to win the IC title ladder match? I want Dean Ambrose to win. Shockingly. The reason why I want Ambrose to win is because I feel like, honestly, Bryan is at a point where he doesn't need the IC title. The only reason I would give it to him is so he can be known as a Grand Slam champion, because he has won every other title he could win in WWE but the IC championship. But other than that, though, I just really don't think there's a reason for him to get it. I think Ambrose would do a lot more things with it. Although Bryan would have better matches, I see Ambrose being someone who would make it much more prestigious in terms of a character, in terms of it feeling important. Now, you might disagree with me and use the whole argument, well, Dalyxman, he was U.S. champion and nobody remembered that. True, but that was before he grew into the character he is now. I think as he is now, he's more the Jon Moxley kind of Dean Ambrose I know he could be. So this character, I think, would make the IC Championship awesome. Not saying I would not like Bryan as IC Champion. I just would prefer Dean Ambrose more. That's just my opinion. Shocker, right? Name some former WWE superstar you miss in the WWE. Ooh, dude, I would be here forever. I miss a lot of people. I miss the people like Shelton Benjamin, Carlito, Chris Masters. I miss people like the Boogeyman. I miss people like Beth Phoenix, Mickie James, and it just goes all over the place. But those three that I mentioned at first, Carlito, Shelton Benjamin, Chris Masters, I miss them a lot. Those three I felt were going to carry the company for a certain period of time, but they all left, and it never came to fruition, unfortunately. And John Morrison, who is Johnny Mundo in Lucha Underground. So I don't miss him that much because I see him anyways, but you know what I'm trying to say. In WWE was the question. That's who I miss in WWE. How do you feel about Daniel Bryan's new turd gimmick after the last SmackDown? I didn't watch SmackDown. What's his turd gimmick? I didn't really catch that. Explain that one to me down below. Bray Wyatt versus The Undertaker. Will this be Bray Wyatt's defining match? I'm going to say yes. I think this match will definitely make Bray Wyatt into that upper tier guy in WWE. If he beats him. If he doesn't, it'll still be something that makes him into a star. But if he beats Taker, without a doubt, it will solidify him as a top star in WWE and one of the top people to beat in that company. Because there isn't a big list of people nowadays who have the ability to say they can beat and have beaten Taker. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, that is my answer to that. Who is the wrestler you want to see come back in NXT? Come back in NXT. The same people, I suppose, I answered earlier. Carlito, Shelton Benjamin, Eugene would be nice. Not like old people like Animal. No. I guess a Heidenreich wouldn't hurt. You know, those people who made good TV back in the day, and I know can make it now. Elijah Burke would be nice. Who did get a fresh shake in WWE? That would be nice. You know, you guys help me out with this one. Who would you like to see come back in NXT? That used to be in WWE. What is your opinion on Kendrick's, Lamar's, The Blacker, The Barry? And if you haven't heard, go listen to it. Come back with your thoughts. I haven't listened to it yet, buddy, so maybe next time. Sorry about that. Who do you think is the perfect wrestler for Rusev? The guy says, I personally would prefer Kurt Angle versus Rusev. And I am going to agree with you. I think Kurt Angle would be the absolute perfect opponent for Rusev. Unfortunately, he's in TNA, so that won't happen. If not Kurt Angle, maybe Hacksaw or, Sergeant Slaughter. I don't know. Some American type guy. Unlike Jack Swagger, because Jack Swagger sucks. Anybody else but Jack Swagger. Maybe even Hulk Hogan, but don't go there, WWE. Don't go there. He's out of his age. He's not in his prime anymore. Let's not do him. Kurt Angle, I'm going to go with him. What if WWE were to go out of business? Then wrestling would cease to be relevant unless NXT takes over. That's my thoughts on that. Let me see. Was Test an underrated wrestler? Yes. He deserved a much better career than what he got. I feel like they had the opportunity to make him a top star multiple times, actually. And something came up, something happened, whether it's backstage or a personal life, that stopped him from being that guy. It sucks that he never became a top guy in WWE. And I felt like he should have become. Very underrated wrestler. Whatever happened to Vince saying, we think you're tired of having your intelligence insulted? Oh, well, that guy died. I don't know what happened to that Vince McMahon. Maybe he died in the limo explosion in 2007. That guy that we love died in 2007. This one is a I don't know, an evil twin of his that wants to destroy the wrestling business and doesn't care. You know, it feels kind of weird that almost 2 decades ago he would say that, and then later he would go against that very same philosophy with this show. I don't know, man. Do you think Cena winning the U.S. title is a good thing or a bad thing? I think him being U.S. champion is actually a good thing. Him beating Rusev, I don't like. You know, I don't mind Cena being a U.S. champion as long as he stays out of the title picture. But him beating Rusev, that's the only thing I don't like. I think he'd be a good U.S. champion without a doubt. Your thoughts on Randy Orton's run in 2011? Hated it. One of the worst runs I've ever seen. How Roman Reigns is right now is how Randy Orton was in 2011. That should tell you everything about how I feel about Roman Reigns. Do you think Taker versus Wyatt is a lose-lose situation? No, I don't. I think the only way it would work is, like I said, for Bray Wyatt to beat Taker. It would be a lose situation if Taker beats Wyatt. There's no reason for Taker to beat Wyatt. It's going to kill his momentum, and he's right back to square one, and Taker's going to go away. So, Bray Wyatt needs to beat Taker, and if we do that, we'll be good. Do you think what they did on SmackDown with Roman Reigns and Mark Henry put him over, or was it whack? I didn't see SmackDown. I haven't seen the segment. I'm going to say no. I don't think Mark Henry did a very good job or could do a very good job to put him over. That's just my personal opinion. WWE is going out of their way to push Reigns straight to the moon, and everything they're doing is doing nothing but failing miserably. They should just let it happen naturally. Your favorite animated movie of all time? Really? Wow. Gonna go back to Disney. Let me see. I have a lot of Disney movies, by the way. It's either between The Lion King or Aladdin. And I'm going with Aladdin because of Robin Williams. You can say I'm cheating all you want, and I understand why you would say that. But, you know, him passing away really hit me. And his performance as the genie has to be one of the best performances for any animated character I've seen. He made that role. Those of you who don't know, I'm pretty sure most of you have seen Aladdin, right? I'm going to assume you have. If you haven't, why? Why? But the director who made the movie actually said they just let Robin Williams go off the cuff during the actual recording of the genie, and they based the animation and the character around how he acted. It was glorious. It was awesome. Man, there is actually a feature somewhere, whether it's on the DVD or not, of him actually just going nuts and all the stuff that he did. It was awesome, man. Robin Williams is a class act, man. There is nobody or very few people who can match up to his, you know, his charisma, his talent, his ability to make you laugh and to make you smile and to entertain you. One of the best of all time, in my personal opinion. Sorry, kind of got off on a tangent there about Robin Williams. Let me go ahead and get back to this. Let me see. What other questions you have for me? I have a ton of questions, by the way. I'm not going to finish them. Why do you think WWE is out of touch with the fans these days? Because they are so self-centered about themselves that they can't see past themselves. And that's the problem. WWE's focus is no longer about pleasing their audience. It's more about pleasing themselves and, I don't know, satisfying the ego of one old man. That old man is all about him. It's all about him creating his own universe that, you know, people live in and everybody else doesn't exist. In this universe, this guy is the top guy. Whether the audience likes it or not, this guy is the top guy because he said it's the top guy. And in his universe, he can get away with that. Although that's not how business is supposed to work, but it's not our world, guys. It's his universe. And because it's his universe, it's out of touch. Vince is out of touch, therefore the product is out of touch. Because it's being run by a guy who's out of touch. But that is my thoughts on that, guys. Thank you for your questions. I'll catch you next week for another Q&A. Your boy, Dalyxman, signing off. Peace.